Prime Minister and Premier for your reflections on Neale. I'd like to thank everyone who is here at the G today to celebrate Neale's life with our family and those watching via broadcast and live stream. I would also like to thank Dr. Susan Mathers, all the medical team and the allied health workers. Your care and dedication meant so much to Neale and to our family. Special mention to Neale's carers, who made it possible for Neale to stay at home. You adapted to constant change, new equipment, and all of Neale's needs with so much patience and kindness. You also had to put up with a lot of eye rolling from Neale, and I'm incredibly grateful for all your support. I want to start with a monologue that was one of Neale's and my favourites. It comes from the movie Parenthood. In one scene, Grandma is talking to her son about life. She describes it as a choice between a merry-go-round and a roller coaster. The merry-go-round goes round and round, safe, predictable, comfortable. But the roller coaster takes you up and down and around sharp turns. It can be frightening, exhilarating, sickening, and thrilling all at once. Some people prefer the merry-go-round. Grandma chose the roller coaster, and so did Neale. The roller coaster, a metaphor for life, unpredictable, full of highs and lows, sudden turns, and unexpected challenges. Neale often said, life doesn't promise to be fair. He learned that early, and he learned that with every challenge comes opportunity. His first major challenge came while he was playing football at Essen. He was playing good football, so I'm told, when he ruptured his first ACL. 3 knee reconstructions followed. Each time, he worked relentlessly to regain his strength and return to the game he loved. Eventually, though, his footy career came to an end. So Neale reset. Neale and I met at a family friend's 21st up near Horsham, just before Neale did his first ACL. We decided to catch up back in Melbourne. We were both studying in the city, so our first date was a lunch in a dark old pub on Swanston Street that had a very limited menu of sausages, lamb's fry and chips. I'm fairly sure this was Neale's way of checking just to see how down to earth I was. I must have passed the test. We were married in 1985 and we were married for 41 years. We had a lot in common, including a love of family and sport. I saw firsthand the love Neale had for his family, though I have to say the first visit to the farm was a bit daunting, staying in a house with Jim and Edna and their 11 kids. It was busy, loud, and it was so much fun, and there was plenty of laughter. Playing sport was incredibly important to both of us. Neale played football and I played netball. Back then, footy and netball were played on Saturday afternoons. So I never saw Neale play for Essendon Firsts. But the lessons sport taught us helped set us up for life. Working as a team, learning to win and to lose, learning resilience and discipline. Neale loved to learn, constantly absorbing, questioning and growing. He couldn't understand why I like to read fiction books. He always said, I watch movies for enjoyment and I read to learn. He studied computer science, theology, finance. He worked in the computer science industry and then he found his way into coaching. Later in life, his focus switched to philosophy and psychology, always wanting to better understand people and life. But the most important role of all was becoming a father to our 4 children, Loz, Luke, Beck and Ben. It gave him a new perspective on life. He adored being a dad, and it gave his life its greatest meaning. With every change and every hurdle and disappointment, Neale adjusted. He always found a way forward and always found meaning in what came next. He began his senior coaching career at the Melbourne Football Club in 1997. He loved coaching, he loved the Melbourne Footy Club, and he loved his players. Even if at times, I think they may have questioned that. When his time ended at Melbourne, Neale once again looked for the next challenge. He worked with the AFL to establish what became the AFL Coaches Association, where he served as the CEO. Then came another chapter. In 2009, Neale became the General Manager of Football Operations at the West Coast Eagles, and we were fortunate enough to spend 7 years in the West. It was in Perth that Neale first noticed the weakness in his hand. Life was full, we were busy, and things were going really well. As with every family, facing an MND diagnosis doesn't prepare you for being told there is no treatment, no cure, and that the life expectancy is around 27 months. It's devastating, and it was almost impossible to believe. But Neale took on the challenge, as he did with all the others, head on. Together with Pat Cunningham and Dr. Ian Davis and our families, we all found a new focus and purpose. We chose something positive. We chose something positive to work towards, to fight MND. We rode the bumps and the drops and the sharp curves, never knowing what was to come next. There were moments of joy and sadness, fear and love, strength and determination. It wasn't easy, it was incredibly difficult, but we faced each challenge together and we never gave up. We were incredibly lucky that Neale got to meet his 6 beautiful grandchildren. But MND doesn't define Neale. Neale is defined by his character, his integrity, his humility, his honesty, his strength and resilience. By his sharp wit, his cheeky smile, his love of family and friends, and his wonderful love of laughter. This is how we will remember Neale. I love you, darling. Thank you.
Wife of the Year, married to an Australian of the Year. What an incredible woman. What a combination.